Let's all play What's My Line?
Good Friday, everybody. Good Friday. That's not necessarily a topical reference. How are you, Soup?
Oh, I was reaching down to pick up the album on the floor.
Well, with that suit that Donna's got on, I didn't know what you were reaching down for.
There's a fat moth running around, so I'm going,
I certainly hope so. Welcome to What's My Line, everybody. During the next 30 minutes, you will meet some interesting people engaged in occupations which we hope will baffle our panel. And in addition, the panel will face a celebrity mystery guest a little later. Right now, let's meet our first challenger. Would you enter and sign in, please? Da-dum-bum. Sandy Brookover. Hi, Sandy. Welcome to What's My Line.
Thank you.
And Friday.
Yes.
Where are you from?
From Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Panel, Sandra Brookover is a specialist. She travels all around the country for the United States government, appearing on television and lecturing. Now let's show the audience what her line is. Now remember, everyone, you have to find out what kind of a specialist she is. And let's start the questioning with Jean Shalit.
Good afternoon, Miss Brookover.
Yes.
That's my first question. If you agree with that, we'll get on to the next question, which is,
all right.
Are you in the field of food, in other words, Department of Agriculture, or public health, well-being?
Is
Yes,
that all?
she-
That's all one
That's
question.
That's all one question. Yes, she is part of all of that.
Okay, now I've got it down to 2 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say, are you in the field of public health and well-being?
Public health and well-being is a no-no.
Got a
1
farmer
down
on our
and
hands.
9 to go, Melba.
But your lectures do involve something that has to do with food. Is that?
Yes.
We narrowed it down to
Yes.
there. And you work under the auspices of the Department of Agriculture?
Yes.
Are your lectures given to both men and women
Yes.
and children?
No.
Gee, it's a shame you were doing so great, and then you got that no on children. 2 down and 8 to go.
well, it has something to do with food.
Yes.
Now, we have to find out what kind of food or what she tells the people about the
What
food.
kind of food?
What kind of food? Let's see. What kind of food?
Yeah.
Oh,
Take yes for an answer and
I
go.
know, yeah. What kind of food? Would it be in the meat family?
It would be in the meat family. She is a U.S. Department of Agriculture meat specialist. That was very fast.
$1,095 stereo system for $6.
It's time to go shopping.
One of these teams may be going home with $5,000. Amy will buy it for $3.
Your grand total is...
Agriculture. What are your duties as a meat specialist, Sandra?
Well, I travel all over the country for the Department of Agriculture talking to people about how to buy meat and how to prepare it. And it's a consumer education program that I conduct for the Department of Agriculture.
Where are these lectures held usually?
Sometimes,
Like if you went into a town to give one, how would the people know that you were there?
well, a lot of times I appear as a guest on television shows, local television shows, talking about meat buying, either high meat prices or grades for meat or whatever. But you might find me on a university campus as well as in an auditorium giving a consumer program that's being sponsored by a certain local group. So it varies.
Now, when you said you talked about high meat prices, what do you say about them?
Oh, I was the minute I mentioned that. Well, I don't think we really have the time to go into all that, do we?
All right. What are some of the main things that people do ask you about that we can go into?
No, people have a lot of questions about meat. They ask questions about like meat tenderizers, or they ask me about quality grades for meat, like what's the difference between prime and choice and so forth.
What is the difference?
Well, the main difference is the degree of tenderness. Prime is the top quality grade, and then the next one down the line is USDA choice.
Does it have anything to do with fat content?
Well, it has something to do with the marbling, the little tiny flecks of fat in the lean meat, because there's more marbling in prime than there is in choice, and most consumers prefer choice. This is what you find most in the supermarkets. So they ask about quality and so forth, and then they ask things about cooking meat and about storage of meat and prepackaged meat cuts, names of meat cuts and so forth.
What is it that happens to some meat when it's very dark? What is that when it's in the...
Well, sometimes, like with the prepackaged cuts in the meat counter, if it's marked down in price and it's a little bit darker in color, people shy away from that. And the meat has just discolored because it's been so tightly wrapped. There's
But it's
nothing
okay
wrong
with
with
the
it.
meat's okay though.
Oh, sure, it's perfectly fine, and those are the cuts to buy.
All right, I tell you what. Listen, Jennifer Wood, would you bring in some steaks, please, darling, so we can move over there and look at that? Oh my goodness. What a distraction from the steaks. Let's go over there for a minute, Sandy, and see what we can do. Is that gorgeous? Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Now then, there are 8 different kinds of meat laid out here. And if you guess right, I bet you didn't know there were that many. Did you, Sue? These are all steaks, is that correct?
They're all steaks.
All steaks. Now, I tell you what, Soup, if you get this one right, you get to keep it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can you pick
That's
out
a
a T-bone?
London broil right there, and I'll take it.
Can you
Number
pick
3.
out a T-bone steak from this? If you do, you get to keep it.
Do I stand up and come over there? or
Well,
what?
you're going to be able to see it from there.
But that's number 1's a T-bone.
Number 1 is a T-bone steak. Give that man a T-bone steak. Okay, Donna, how about
Number 7.
nice...
Number 7, I know.
Number 7, you know? Well, what I was
No.
going to ask you about
Bad.
was a sirloin. You know where a sirloin is?
That one. Number
That
5.
one is not the sirloin. That's the sirloin. Isn't that a beauty?
It
That looks
is.
like a Gene
Beautiful.
Shalit steak. Listen, Gene, how about a flank steak?
How about it?
You want one?
No.
Can you pick one out? Which is a flank?
One of those lays colored eggs. That's all I can tell you. Is number 8 London broil?
Number 8, London broil? No. Number 8 is the flank, which you were asked about.
Did you ask me about the flank steak? I got
You
it.
can have a flank steak. It is used for London broil. It is used for London
See,
broil.
the Department of Agriculture knows.
Yes, it does. Melba, how about a chuck steak?
The chuck steak is number 6.
Oh.
What team's he playing on?
He bought a few steaks. How did you
I
know
used to be a
that?
meat specialist.
Did you really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, listen, Soupy, how about a porterhouse?
Porterhouse is number 4.
Number 4 is the porterhouse. You got 2 steaks at your house. That's fantastic, isn't it? Okay, let's see, Donna, how about a round steak?
A round one?
Yeah.
This one looks round. Number 2.
This one?
No, number 2,
Number
she
2
said.
looks round.
Number
Right up
2 looks
front.
round? No, that's the round steak. That's a round steak. Gee, you're going to be hungry tonight, and so is your old man. Okay, how about a fillet, Gene?
Number 2.
Number 2 is the fillet. That's right, so you've got a fillet. And Melba, what about the good club steak? I bet you can
Well,
never
the
pick
good
it out.
club. I get one guess, 7.
Oh, how clever of you.
You saw the act with that.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us on What's My Line, Sandra. This was very instructive.
It takes hours to make your garden grow.
All contestants on What's My Line will receive these gifts from Sarah Coventry, a handsome golden heirloom locket pendant, a Florentine bracelet, and dainty trilite rings. A charming look of elegance by Sarah Coventry. And a handsome 17-jewel wristwatch from Westclock, with sunburst finish case, built-in shock absorber, and jeweled lever movements from Westclock. And a spacious, roomy tote bag by American Tourister, designed to go everywhere, by land, by sea, or by air. The strong, lightweight luggage by American Tourister. Larry?
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Will our next challenger enter, please, and sign in? Jerry Tessler. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Okay, Mr. Tessler, welcome to What's My Line. Where are you from?
Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Panel, Jerry Tessler is involved with this device, which you see before you. Now, when you stick your finger in this aperture, this hole here, and turn it on with this switch, it does something. It does something. Now, what you have to find out First of all, we're going to show the audience what it is that it does. Okay, and now the machine is doing something right now. As we speak, it's doing it. And you have to figure out what it is. Okay, Arlene. Arlene. I am so used to seeing Arlene in that seat. Isn't that funny? Melba?
And if Arlene were here, she'd know exactly what it does. Does this, gee, there's so many possibilities. Does this, how can I phrase this? It does what it does to the person who has their finger where Larry Blyden has his, correct?
Yes. Yeah. It's doing it to me, whatever it is that it's doing.
All
and
right.
I'm falling in love.
Is it, it doesn't measure it, something, correct?
You're saying it does not measure
It does
something.
not measure. It is
That
not
is
to measure.
incorrect. 1 down and 9 to go was a funnily phrased question. So we've established now, Subi, that it does measure something.
Maybe if you have a cut and you put your finger in there's a little doctor and he kisses it. Makes it well. You know.
How did you guess
It does. It measures something, right?
Yes, it does. Yes.
You mean, can we eliminate that it buffs and polishes your nail?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
But it does measure something. It measures how long your fingernail is.
No.
No, it does not measure that. 2 down and 8 to go.
Before
Done.
I ask the question, can we see the back of the box?
It's just plain. See? It's just plain.
Oh, so it measures something without telling you it.
All the action is on the inside, and it does tell you. And it does tell you it.
It tells you the volume of your voice. It counts the
volume of
your
like in
voice.
decibels.
Yes.
Wrong. No.
3 down and 7 to go, Gene.
Does this sharpen your finger?
No, it does not.
Does it have anything to do with fingerprints?
No.
Fingerprints? No, nothing to do with that. Melba?
Does it measure some bodily function?
Yes.
Does it measure something that is rhythmic?
Yes.
A rhythmic pattern. Does it have something to do with blood circulation? I mean, in some sense that it is a measurement of something about your blood circulation.
Indirectly, yes.
Yeah, it's connected with that. You're right.
Does it measure, well, there are 2 things. It could be your, is it your pulse?
It is your pulse. Jerry Chesler is president of the ESCO Communications Incorporated, who have developed the Pulsomatic machine designed to take your pulse. How does it work, Jerry?
It essentially takes the infrared signals from the blood vessels, and they're amplified and displayed on the little red bulb, which is called a light-emitting diode. The prime feature of this machine, when you press the red button, it actually times out over a 6-second period, and as a result, all you do is add a 0 to the number of light flashes that you count, and it tells you your pulse down to the last one.
That's really extraordinary. Now, what are the advantages of a machine like that?
Well, there are exercise fanatics in the world, and when they do this exercise in health spas, it's very important to know just what your pulse is, so that you will know when you exceed the tolerable rates of your heart, for example.
That's very interesting. What else are you working on now that's...
Well, our prime product in our company is an acoustic telephone coupler that allows totally deaf people to communicate via the ordinary telephone and a teleprinter.
How will that work?
The deaf person makes a telephone call, he inserts the cradle of a telephone into our electronic device, and he's able to type to the other party. And for the first time in their lives, totally deaf people now can communicate via telephone.
Does sound come out the other end?
There are audible tones that shift back and forth as the key is depressed. We essentially convert...
That's incredible, Jerry, and a marvelous contribution. Thank you
so
very
much.
much for being with us. Okay, they all in place?
Yes.
All right, Mystery Challenger, would you enter and sign in, please? Okay, panel, one question at a time now. We have 3 minutes to establish the identity of our mystery guest. We'll start the questioning with Donna.
Learned my lesson from yesterday. Are you in the music business?
No, senor.
Not as we speak, probably, but I think you might pursue that a little bit if you really want to find out who this man is.
By the way, there's not a senor on my right.
Senora.
In case you're trying to speak Turkish.
Senor.
Okay, Gene?
Sir, are you in movies or television as an actor?
No, senor.
Melba?
Are you known as an actor?
He dicho no, senor.
No, that's a definite no. Soup?
Are you best known because of your work behind the scenes of show business? When I say that, I mean as a writer, director, producer, choreographer, and things like that.
That's a tough one, Soupy. He is known
just-
for that, but
no
not
puedo
best.
contestar exactamente.
What did you say?
He said, what time does this studio get to Tijuana?
I thought he said Ricardo Montalban was here.
Donna?
I'm going to pursue music. Are you a songwriter?
Sí, no.
Yes
Más
or
o
no?
menos, no.
Not really. Okay, Gene?
Sir, is your primary function in your livelihood that of a performer rather than a creator for performers? Are you a professional performer of any kind?
Of some kind, yes.
No, ahora, no.
Not now. Okay, Melba?
A professional performer of some kind, not now. Are you known now? No, excuse me. Are the reason people recognize you now, is it because of something that you are involved in that, oh, what am I saying?
I don't know, but it's enchanting to watch
recently. Are you known now for your work not as a performer?
Yes.
All right.
I would say so.
I think so.
His current work is not as a performer, but you would probably know him best as one. Soupy?
Well, the work that you're doing now, is it in politics?
No.
No, I think we established the fact that this was some kind of performer. Take off your mask and say hello to Artie Shaw. Some kind of performer.
That's tough. That's tough. What do you do? She was right on. She said, "Are you?" Answer, no.
Well, of course, they just released...
I haven't played music in 15 years. That makes me not a musician.
But they release your albums every month.
I can't help what they do. She didn't say, "Are you in the business of collecting royalties from people who put out old records?" No.
There's 1 minute between rounds there.
Well, that's right.
What are you doing now, Artie?
Well, I'm on What's My Line right now. That's my business.
You know, the other day, I know that you don't want to be thought of probably as a musician now.
I don't mind.
You don't?
Buy my records, tell all your friends.
Well, the other night I was sitting around with a friend of mine, Noel Ben, and we were listening to all those old records that
I
you
know.
used to do.
Noel was living in your apartment.
Yeah,
I was sitting around there one night playing poker.
Were you?
Yeah, they
How'd you
ripped
do?
me off pretty good.
That's a mean game.
Yeah, sure.
Now listen, you've made an enormous contribution to jazz in this country, but I don't think most of us who are not musicians could really pinpoint what it was. What would you say that your contribution was mainly?
Well, I hung around there and breathed. No, I was just in there hanging out and doing what I thought was right at the time. And one of the things I did do, if you want to get serious about that, was to show that you could play what used to be called swing and still play a melodic, play a melody that people could understand and hear. Mm-hmm. At one point, when I was starting in the early days, the so-called swing idiom was composed of a lot of noise. It was very loud. It still is, because you have to play loud to hit those high ones. But we also did it melodically. I think that was the contribution, plus strings, plus a lot of other things.
Well, I tell you, Artie, everybody in this country who's over 40 years old recognizes, all right, over 30 years old, recognizes whatever you did, and not only did you do it better than anybody else, but you affected all of us, and we hear differently because of you, and we're all grateful to you.
Thank you, Larry. It's very nice.
Thank you, Artie. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you Monday. Goodbye.
This is Dennis Holey for What's My Line, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.